Hi everyone, welcome back to Linda at Linda's in Arlington Heights and Debbie, my cameraman.
Hi.
And what we're going to do today is show you a simple quilt label. Quite a few people called me or texted me and had comments about they would like to see something done from start to finish. So I'm going to do a very simple quilt label today that will show you exactly how we do this in a very small hoop using the iron, the very beginning process, and then going to the machine and putting it all together. Many of you did order these wonderful black diamond quilts. We have a couple left, so we really appreciate your patronage on that, and I really mean that. It's wonderful what you're doing. So let's start by doing the pressing of the fabric. You can see there's wrinkles in it. Now when you first pick up your iron, you're going to get a little steam. You see how that is giving you that extra steam so that that water comes out of the tube. And now I'm just going to give it a nice little press, and you can see immediately those wrinkles are gone. Same way with here, and immediately those wrinkles are gone. So now the fabric has been pressed, but we still need to do something more.
And what is that?
Okay, well, before I do this, I want to show you what I've used. This is something that I use all the time. It's called Heat and Stay Fusible. I've cut actually two pieces, one for each one. And this is a fusible that goes on the back of the fabric before I put it into the hoop. So I'm going to take and turn the fabric over, put my fusible on top of it, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other piece because I have one for the black diamond quilt, and then I have one for this cute little rocket quilt that's over there. Yeah, so now I'm just going to, now I'm going to press this board. You see how, watch what happens. See how the steam goes out of it now? And it's just going to stay, I'm going to press it in the center so it stays real nice and firm. And it takes a few minutes. And I'll do this after I'm through with that. I'll do this on the second one over here too. Now you can see what I'm doing. I'm pressing it, and this time I'm giving it a little bit of extra pressure, so it'll just go up and down, up and down. Same way with this one. This is the one, like I said, is for the little rocket guy from yesterday, and this is from the quilt label that is going to go on the black diamond. And I really want to thank everyone. I shouldn't even get into this, but I really want to because you guys have been so supportive. My customers are the best ever, and thank you so much for what you've done. All kinds of people have ordered product. This is really a tough time for everybody, and the whole point of this video was really to get the creativity back in your hands. I know when you're by yourself sometimes and you're kind of feeling isolated, we want to have fun. We want to just forget about everything else and enjoy that creative process. So that's what we're going to do today, and we're just going to enjoy the whole part of it from start to finish. Now, you can see this one has been pressed. It's a fusible. I'll put this back on. I took the plate off because sometimes you can do, the iron will get hotter with the plate off. It's just a little bit better fuse. And I think I'll start with this one. This is the little rocket man, we call him. And you can see when I go to put this in, again, this is only a little small 4x4 hoop. See, I'm putting it in there. I'm going to give it a real good pressure. Now, do you see how I put that in? Does that help everybody to see? And then in the back, I push it up as much as I can. And if I still don't have it real tight, I have my wonderful little trusty screwdriver, and I don't know, Debbie, if you can get up close to that.
We call it the multi-purpose tool.
Yeah, it's wonderful because that little metal part inside, you see how there's a groove right here? It goes right onto this groove, and you can feel it. It just clicked. And now look at what's happening. Turn, turn. I thought it was already tight, but this made it even tighter. And then if I want to use this little tool for my needles to change them and whatnot,
or
it's just
presser feet. Take the presser feet on and off your machine.
Yeah, so some really good things for that. I'll put that back, and now you can see that this is in there nice and tight. That's the first one that I'm going to do. Something else I want to show you that I do with this stabilizer when I'm finished. This is the Heat and Stay topper.
No, Heat and Stay regular stabilizer.
Right, it's a regular stabilizer that went on the back of the backing for the label. So that's what we did. We always want to have some type of stabilizer in the hoop over and above the fabric. And the best possible way, especially if it's a woven fabric, is to have a stabilizer that is fusible. And that's why we're calling that, that's why we're using this stabilizer called the Heat and Stay Fusible. Now, I just took my word processor and typed it in under a nice big setting and nice big font. Cut it off, get your paper, and then do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut some of this Hugo tape off, which is just wonderful, because I don't know about you, but I have a lot of stabilizer, and how many of us remember what we have? I don't like continually, writing it in the tube or having to put
because it can fall out.
There. Right. So this way, I put this right on top, and look at how it stays. It's nice and simple, and I know exactly where it is. And I have all my stabilizers, stick them in a little basket, and they're all ready to go the next time. So I thought this was a little something that would really help you. Now, the next thing I want to show you, the other little tip that I think is wonderful. If you see, how those threads on your fabric always come off? Well, when you're finished and you stick them in a box, if you've only had one or two, there's not a problem, but that little thread that's sticking out there is always a problem. It's always the one that, messes everything up. So I take this Hugo tape, wrap it around nice and tight, and there I am. Voila.
Wow, Mom doesn't have thread knots in her bin of threads, and I do. Okay, so I better get some Hugo's tape.
And now I have another one here, and you saw this yesterday or maybe the day before. And this is called the water-soluble topper. Now, a lot of people that don't do much embroidery, are mostly quilters, wonder why in the heck would you need an embroidery machine? Well, just for this purpose. It's really important for you to make sure your quilt labels, all your quilts have a label on them. And your quilt labels need to have this water-soluble topper on it, because when I am doing this, I am going to now cut a little piece. And you notice I did not put it into the hoop yet. All I did is cut it. I'm going to cut it right off about the size of the hoop. See how I'm doing this? Just cuts right off. And now
we're not going to lick and spit. Not this time.
No.
Sorry.
Do it. They say I'm not allowed to do that.
Nope, you're not allowed to this time.
But we'll go ahead and get some water and put it on there so you understand what I'm doing. And I put my label back on so I know what I have the next time, and it doesn't come off. It just stays real nice and neat. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is I'm going to, cut this about the size that's ready for the hoop. And I'm going to take just a little spritz of water on my finger or on your, one of those little sponges you get at the office store. And I'm going to wet it at the back, and it'll stick down on the corners. Now you have stabilizer on the back, and you have stabilizer on the top. So you can see I'm taking a little dab of water, putting it on this topper, and what it'll do, in fact, I gave a little too much water on there, but it still will stick. I get my finger on, and you can see it's already stuck here and here, and let me do the last one here, just a little dab, and now it's stuck onto the frame. Next step, we've got it all ready to go. Now, before I load this onto the machine, the hoop, I want you to be able to see exactly what kind of thread we're using. I have in here a very simple pre-wound bobbin. This is from Brother. It's a reusable bobbin. It's something I would highly recommend. They come in white and black, white for your light colors, and of course black for your dark colors. So this is number one, follow your diagrams on your machines so you know exactly how to put that bobbin in. I'll do it for you again so you can see it. It's real easy. But you see how the thread is coming off like this? You see how it's there? See there? I'm going to drop it in. I'm going to hold the bobbin as I go through the tension to make sure that it catches in there. That's one little tip that a lot of people don't do. They forget to hold that bobbin, and then occasionally what happens is the thread in the bobbin does not go into the tension. Now I'm going to show you something really wonderful. The top thread that we use is going to be a 40 weight embroidery thread. The bottom was a 60 weight. This one is a heavier thread. The higher the number, the finer the thread. So the 40 weight is really going to be what we use anytime we're doing embroidery. And I happen to have the Brother PES Simplicity thread on here. I love it. It's just a great thread. And you can see as I'm going through this, watch what I do. I hold my thread with my right hand. I bring it down, and the reason I'm doing that, I'm bringing it through the tension so that I will be able to really hold onto that thread. I'm flossing it to make sure it goes through. And then I go down into I follow the numbers on the machine, and voila, there I am, all threaded. It's probably the easiest thread machine that you will ever find. So that is something that I hope helps you a little bit from when you're doing regular threading. And it's true on any machine. Always hold your hand on the right side and then bring the thread through on your left side. If you're right-handed, if you're left-handed, you might have to work with that a little bit, but this really will help you a lot from, if you ever had those little bird's nests, you know what we say about those, don't you? You know, Debbie?
I do know what they say about that. You want to tell us?
What causes the bird's nest?
Usually it's me if I'm the one sitting between the machine and the chair.
Right. What causes the bird nest is what's between the chair and the machine. So I'll let you guys figure that out. That's your little puzzle for the day.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're ready to load our hoop into our machine. And once we get it in there, I always hold this so that if your arm is moving, it won't move, it'll stay in position. Now I'm going into our embroidery hoop, and I think that many of you in your embroidery machines or your regular sewing machines will have an area where there are outlines of designs. I'm going into the rectangle. I'm going to go into this. Actually, I should be using my wonderful little pen because it's so easy to do. You see what it does? Boom. And now I'm going to do the embroidery, but what did I forget?
You forgot to add words.
Okay, so do you see this little ad over here? I now want to add some font, and let's have some fun ones. And Debbie, what is this called?
Well, this is called Blast Off.
Okay, so I can do.
But do you remember we kind of had one ready to go already?
Oh,
in the
so
memory.
I don't have to go through all this?
You don't have to go through all of it, but that's what you would go through if you had to.
Yeah,
we're just going to go to memory.
What I really want to do, though, is go down to small because I don't want it to be, see how it changed the size? And I'm going to go into, I won't go through the whole entire thing, but do you see how I have it now? Oh,
you spelled one wrong.
So what am I going to do?
I am going to
delete, or undo. It's one of the easiest machines that there is to figure out. So I go ahead and put my letters in and my lines, and then I set it. Now I'm going to go into memory because I already have it brought in there. And you'll see in a moment. Take it out.
Go ahead.
All right, so I have all of the little square, the rectangle all set and ready to go. And this is all one color, so it will just continue on sewing. Now, I'm going to go ahead and touch my embroidery button. And of course, when I do that, I want to make sure that my foot is down on this particular machine. When I don't really need to do that, as long as this button is green, it's all set and it's ready to go. So I can just start, and you see what it's going to do. Oh, it's going to do the outline of the design first.
Embroidering.
So while this label is sewing, I want to show you one that I've already done. This is another quilt label, and you can see that this is already stuck down. The embroidery has been done with a square. You can make your quilt labels big, small, be creative. Do what you would like to do for your own. This one I did put made by myself, and then I put the date on here. And you can see this is, on this particular one, I'm trying to think if I used regular tearaway on there, and no, I didn't. You can see how it's coming down, because when you use the fusible, look at, there's no puckering, none whatsoever. And once I pull this stabilizer off and spritz it with a spritzer, and then take a towel and press that extra glue will come off on your towel. This label will look just fabulous. I'm going to show you.
You have more here too?
Oh, yes, I do. Here's one.
Oh, wait, there's more.
This is the Christmas Magic. Get a little thread on there. And that's kind of fun. You can see I also have another one called Log Cabin Basic Quilting, and I'm going to fold that and fold this, but I haven't taken the stabilizer off here. And the great part about this is a fusible, and I'm using this as a sample. So you see how I can pull this right off? And see, then when I can pull that off like that, what will really be great is that it's nice and soft when I go to fold it over. And I will be taking this, once I've folded it over on my quilt, I will take and do that same hand stitch that I showed you on the video yesterday with the same kind of the applique number 9 needles,
Yeah,
which are
needle.
fabulous. And then I'm going to show you how to cut it off too. I'm going to stop. You can see that this is almost done now. One of the wonderful things I want to point out about this machine, do you see this little button here where the thread is? When I touched that button, what it did is now I took it back off. I want to put it on. Now go look at when I go back. Do you see how that's grayed off? What that means is now when I start sewing, when I started here at the border and went around to all of the fabric, it never stopped. It continued on a monochromatic, so it was all in one threading path. So it didn't stop between letters, it didn't stop between lines, it just continued on. And now look at what this wonderful machine is going to say. Oh, it's a happy face. Like I hope all of you are feeling the new Luminaire XP, which is really fun. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off. And this is the fun part for you. If you saw, I'll just pop this out of the hoop. And now I'm going to take, remember how I said we take this water soluble right off. Well, this is fun. I just love getting rid of that. And I try to take off as much as I can. That's why this stylist is really nice. You can bring it right in there. It's very sharp, so I've left the plastic on. You see, this is, by the way, the stylus by Annie. And I use this when I go into the corners and whatnot. So I'm going to pull all that off, get rid of all that junk. And now I'm going to take it back over to the ironing board, put it on the a towel. And you see, the other thing I'm going to do though right now I could take, let me show you another little trick.
Another trick?
Yes.
You guys are so lucky you get all Linda's tricks.
All right, you see what I did? I just pressed it again to warm it up, and you see what's happening? It's coming right off of the design. So you can see what I've done now is take all this stabilizer off. The one in the center really doesn't matter. But now, I get rid of that. I got a basket over here. I can just throw it in.
You missed, by the way.
Did I? Well,
Yeah, that's okay. We'll get it later.
Now I'm going to take my lovely little spritzer and let's move these rolls because we don't want them to get wet. And I'm going to take this off and this off. And now I'm going to take and spritz this. Now remember before I was showing you, I don't know if you can get that up real close, Debbie.
Don't want to get the camera wet.
No, oh, you're right. That's my phone. All right, and I'm going to take this and then I pound it, go like this. Voila, again. Really nice. All the stuff has come off. I can turn it over just to make sure and, give it another little press. And I'll feel it to make sure, yep, everything's off of there. So now I can take and go to the ironing board, and where's my pressing pad?
Pressing pad is under all of the stuff you just put over here.
Okay, well, let me just wipe that off.
It's magic.
This is your friend here. And what do you remember about when I said you have embroidery? How are you going to press the embroidery? Debbie?
Oh, you're asking me now? Oh, no, I'm on the spot. How am I going to press upside down first?
There we go. Turn it over. Okay, so now I'm going to, and I'm really pressing this. I am not ironing it. I'm just pressing it. I'm giving it a real good press so that the iron that is now
turned off because it's a security measure.
Is on
again.
And it is now going to press it real nice and smooth. And you can see, I'll do that again on this side. I did one like this already, and rather than wait for all of this, I'll show you with my, I love these little pinking scissors. They're just wonderful because I cut one off already, and I tore off the tearaway, and I already did the I already did the water soluble on the top. I get rid of that. But you see what I'm doing? I'm just bringing it around. Now this is hard to see because sometimes a label, like I said, you want to use your own creativity. And the person that wanted this label did not want it to look too big. They didn't want to really see it, but yet they wanted it in there. So we made it the colors of the machine. And now what I would do are the colors of the fabric. So now what I would do is take this and really press it good. So I have a nice firm crease. And then I'll do that on all four sides.
What does that one say?
This says Aristocrats. Linda Z's.
Aristocats. Linda Z's.
Oh, Aristocats. Okay.
That's right.
I'm a dog lover. I love the cats too.
We love dogs and cats around here.
I hope that's giving you a little bit. We're probably missing something here today. Today's been a crazy day for us. I don't know about
the phone's been interrupting a few times here.
Every time. I mean, you can tell we're not in our video studio yet.
But we still have our slippers on.
Oh no, we're supposed to show them that. But all right. This is going to be the little one. Now, the last thing, as long as she's getting really funny here.
Last off.
Yeah, it's
1820 by LZ.
Yep, that'll be nice. The top that I'm wearing is, in fact, I have it behind me because I wanted to show it to you. We're going to do something on this because I think clothing is an important part. This is one of our Linda Lee tops. And do you see how it looks totally different?
Let me zoom in.
You can see it there.
Liberty.
All I did is I didn't put the collar on, and where the placket is in the front where it was buttonhole, so I put it on the fold. And so you see how the front is shorter than the back? I didn't make it quite as long, but I still made it a little bit longer in the back where you want it to cover.
Nice.
And so this was all done, almost always, the entire thing, except for a couple of the little hems were done with the serger.
Great.
So
we do have a serger in the house, so we might be unboxing a serger while we're doing one of these videos.
Yeah, we will. We're going to show you.
Stay tuned.
Babylock Triumph.
See you later.
Now, there are some kits and things that I do have. I had the store get things ready for you on everything that I was showing you today. There might be a couple of extra things there. So again, thanks so much, guys. Your support means a lot to us. Debbie and I have been working really hard to get these videos ready for you, and I can't tell you how nice it is to hear your response. So thank you. Have fun tonight. Relax. If you really can't sleep, get up and look at the video. That'll put you to sleep.
Come on. Okay, see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.